Introduction. Terms and conditions. I didn't read. As told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. Name's Ernest. I've been an adjuster long enough to know two things. Paper don't crash, and a handshake's worth more than any password. But the brokers got it in their heads I needed to modernize. So now I tote an iPad that glares at me like a judgmental skillet, plus a chrome contraption humming like a sick fridge. They call it the Testiscan 3000. I call it a lawsuit with a handle. Get out in the field, they said. I thought soybeans, maybe storm roofs. Nope. Turns out field means standing knee-deep in manure trying to strap a space-age ball gauge under birds that remember dinosaurs personally. Customer service, they say. Smile, nod, get signatures, don't spook the livestock or the policyholders. Easy enough. Till the owl hoots 3 times and the forms start floating in folks' heads. Anyway, I reckon we'll do this the Southern way. Grit our teeth, keep a straight face, and Forrest Gump through whatever fresh foolishness shows up next. If it breathes, bucks, or spits, somebody wants it insured. And apparently, Chapter 1, The Emu Assignment, as told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. Well, they told me straight, Ernest, you won't have to get out in the field. Now, I thought they meant crops, maybe soybeans, maybe some timber clean. Nope, they meant field, as in go stand in a pasture with birds big enough to kick your lungs out your back. First day, they hand me this contraption. Chrome, heavy, hums like a refrigerator about to die, and they say, this here's the Testiscan 3000. Strap it under the emu, write down the numbers. Hoof? What? I said, son, an emu don't want nothing strapped to it. An emu already wakes up mad at the world, and now you want me to crawl under one with a chrome ball radar? That's not adjusting. That's attempted suicide. But sure enough, I found myself in a field in South Arkansas, facing down 6 of them. Big, dumb dinosaur birds looking at me like I owed them rent. And I had that machine in my hand, and I swear I could hear it whisper, premium pending. Now you think that's bad. Next week, they said, good news, Ernest, no more emus. We moving you up to Rheas. That's some South American cousin of the emu. Same look, same ugly attitude, just cheaper airfare. It's like switching from a pit bull to a mean chihuahua. The bite's different, but you still get bit. And just when I thought I'd earned my straps, here come the bulls. Big ones, whole herds. One farmer called me out and swore up and down he needed his steers scanned. I had to explain, dead serious, sir, I can do your bulls. I cannot do your steers. That is not how biology works. I gotta have something to wrap this thing around. A nut, a ball, any kind of anchor point. You give me a steer, and all I got's a disappointed machine and a lot of wasted diesel. He looked at me like I'd insulted his family. Said, ain't it all the same? No, sir, it is not all the same. A bull is a policy. A steer is a cancellation. And that's when I realized I wasn't just an adjuster. I was a ball inspector for the Almighty. And brother, the premiums were high. Chapter 2, The Rhea and the Red-Faced Farmer. As told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. Now, I thought I was done with birds after them emus, but oof, what? Next thing you know, they ship in a Rhea. That's just an emu that failed Spanish class. Looks like a feather duster married a velociraptor. Mean as a Dickens wife at a bake sale. So there I am, crouched in a pasture trying to slide the Testiscan under this South American lawn ornament. Bird kicks me so hard my molars rattled. Machine goes beep, 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 prints out a slip that just says, liability uninsurable. Well, I could have told you that before I lost a tooth. Now, about that time, word starts spreading. Farmers here tell Uncle Ernest can measure balls for the company. They don't get the fine print. One feller shows up with a trailer full of goats. Says, "Scan these, would you?" I say, "Friend, these are does. Ain't a ball inside." He squints. "Well, don't it still count?" "No, sir. It does not count. This machine needs something to hold on to. Without a ball, it's just huffing at ghosts." Couple days later, a rooster gets marched up to me in a feed sack. Feller says, "Figure he's got something worth covering." I looked him in the eye and said, "Sir, that bird's claim has already been denied by the Lord himself." But the crowning moment was another cattleman. Calls me out, swears his steers need insuring. I tried again, slow and plain. Bulls, yes. Steers, no. A bull is coverage. A steer is an exclusion. A bull is premium due. A steer is premium void. Man slapped his knee like I'd told a joke. Said, "Well, guess I'll just have to take the rider off then." That's when I realized these folks weren't confused. They were negotiating. They thought insurance worked like a yard sale. Bring whatever critter you got, see if the adjuster will cut you a deal. And me? I just stood there, boots in manure, machine humming, owl watching from a fence post, wondering how the hell I ended up the field rep for Barnyard Anatomy. Chapter 3. The Hog, the Donkey, and the Llama Incident. As told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. By the time I'd survived emas and rheas, I figured I'd seen the worst of it. But no, sir. Word had spread across 3 counties. Uncle Ernest can insure anything with a pulse. Folks started calling me like I was the county fair vet. First stop, hog farmer. Big fella, bib overalls, smile like he just won the lottery. Says, "Ernest, I need coverage on my boars." Now, hogs are smart, mean, and slick as axle grease. I tried to strap that testy scan under one, and the machine squealed louder than the hog did. Printout said, "Coverage possible, but adjuster strongly advised against repeat procedure." Next call, fella with a donkey. He swore up and down this was a heritage animal, worth more than his truck. Wanted a nut scan rider added to his policy. I looked that donkey dead in the eye. Donkey looked back at me, chewing slow, like he knew I was about to embarrass us both. Machine went whir clunk and spit out a slip that said, "Ineligible, attitude problem." And then came the llama. Some fella's wife had seen one in a magazine and decided would make their farm look modern. Calls me out like I'm supposed to run actuarial tables on a South American womb mop with teeth. Llama spit on the machine, spit on me, spit on the farmer. Testy scan screen shorted out, blinked once and displayed hazard, projectile fluids, premium, triple. I stood there wiping my face, saying as dry as I could, "Sir, this ain't insurance, this is baptism by livestock." That night, sitting on the porch, owl hooted 3 times from the fence post. I swore I heard it laugh. Either that or it was practicing for its own claim. Chapter 4. The County Fair Circuit, as told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. I should have known better than to answer my phone that week. Fella says, "Ernest, bring that testy scan down to the county fairgrounds. We got a situation." Oof, what? So I show up, boots dusty, machine humming in the back seat like it knew what was coming. Turns out the fair committee got it in their head that all prize animals needed insurance evaluations. Don't ask me why. Some combination of lawyers, moonshine, and bad ideas. First stop, the turkey tent. Big old Tom strutting like he owned the place. Farmer says he's worth near $500. Need him covered. I slide the testy scan under him, Machine flashes red. Denied. Insufficient inventory. I said, "Sir, this bird's policy's fried before it left the egg." Next up, guinea fowl. Mean little squawkers running circles like wind-up toys. Farmer swore they were rare African stock. Test-to-scan scan 1 chirped, "High noise hazard. Recommend liability only." I told the man, "Best you can hope for is earplug coverage." And then, Lord help me, they rolled out a camel. Not a picture, not a rumor. A real, live camel standing there looking like it had taken the wrong turn at the pyramids. Owner says, "Picked 'em up from a traveling circus, want 'em fully insured." Now, I don't know much about camels, but I do know 2 things. They spit worse than llamas, and they ain't from Bradley County. Testy scanned word, clicked, and printed out the plainest denial I ever saw. Coverage not available in this hemisphere. I looked that man square in the eye and said, "Sir, you're on your own." The crowd laughed. An owl on the Ferris wheel hooted 3 times like it was judging the livestock show. And me? I just packed up my machine, muttered, "I ain't an adjuster anymore. I'm a one-man freak show registry." Chapter 5, Bull Country Blues, as told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. Now, you'd think a man could draw the line somewhere, but out here, the line keeps moving, and most times it's covered in hoof prints. Rancher called me out, voice tight like he had a flat tire in his throat. "Ernest," he says, "need you to run that machine on my herd." I said, "Bulls or steers?" He says, "Ain't no difference." Oof, what? So I roll out there, dust boiling behind my truck, and I see near 30 head in the pasture. Big black bulls pawing the dirt, steam coming out their noses like they've been sitting in a pressure cooker. And sure enough, right in the middle, a bunch of steers mixed in. Now, for anybody who ain't raised around cattle, a bull is a live policy, premiums paying. A steer is just the policy canceled by knife. You can't adjust what ain't there. I tell the man plain as church, "Sir, I can do your bulls. I cannot do your steers. My machine requires inventory." He scratches his head, says, "Well, ain't they cheaper to insure?" "No, sir, they're not cheaper. They're non-existent. A steer's like writing coverage on an empty feed sack. You can sure try, but the bag don't hold nothing." About that time, one of them bulls lowers his head and takes a step at me. Big, mean look, tail twitching. I tighten my grip on the Testy Scan 3000, figuring it might double as a blunt weapon. Machine hums louder, like it's nervous too. Prints a slip right there in my pocket. "Hazard detected. Imminent goring. Recommend immediate retreat." So I backed up, slow as molasses in January. Told the rancher, "Sir, your coverage options are twofold. Liability for the bull that kills me, or nothing for the steers that don't qualify. Pick one." He spat tobacco, muttered something about city insurance boys, and walked off like I'd insulted his whole bloodline. Me, I climbed back in the truck, shut the door, and said to nobody but the owl watching from the fence post, "Lord help me, I'm adjusting nuts in a world that don't know the difference between having 'em and not." Chapter 6, Rodeo Riders and Stampede Riders, as told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. Now, I thought I'd about seen it all with bulls standing around staring at me like I was a salad bar, but no, sir. Turns out there's always another layer of stupid waiting on you like biscuits under a towel. Got a call from the county rodeo board. "Ernest," they said, "we need you to come out with that machine of yours. Big weekend coming. Bulls need evaluating." Ooh, what? So I show up at the fairgrounds, dust flying, kids screaming, barbecue smoke curling. In the pen, half a dozen rodeo bulls, names painted on the gates: Widowmaker, Thunderbutt, Tax Evasion. You know,
real confidence builders. Rodeo boss hands me a clipboard. Need premiums on each. Higher the buck, higher the coverage. I said, "Sir, this ain't NASCAR. You don't adjust horsepower. You adjust, well, other parts." Didn't matter. They had me back there crawling up to a bull that looked like it hated me on sight. I slide the testy scan under, machine whirs, spits a slip, coverage denied, animal actively plotting homicide. Another bull reared back, near tore the chute apart. Machine beeped again. Rider risk surcharge, extreme. By the third one, the whole herd had got stirred up. Next thing I know, the latch slips and here they come. Full stampede through the alley, kicking dirt, bellowing, sending rodeo clowns scattering like popcorn. I pressed that testy scan against my chest like it was holy scripture and climbed the fence faster than I thought my knees allowed. Machine blinked one last time as I dangled there, printing comprehensive liability unavailable during Chapter 7. When the machine turned on people. As told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. By the end of rodeo week, I figured maybe I could finally hang the testy scan up, let it hum itself to death in the shed. But no siree. Word spreads faster than hogs in a melon patch. Farmer's wife calls me, says, "Ernest, my husband thinks that machine of yours can run a check on him. See if he's still worth insuring." Oof, what? So I load up, drive out there, and find the man standing in his Sunday jeans, arms out like he's fixing to get frisked. Says, "Go on, Ernest, strap me in. Might as well know if I'm premium material or just liability." Now, I tried to explain, "Sir, this is a livestock device. Strictly nuts and bolts if you take my meaning." Didn't matter. He was determined. So I held the thing near him, just humming like a jar full of hornets. Screen blinked, spit out a slip. Coverage pending, attitude questionable, premium payable in bourbon. He grinned like he'd won a jackpot. Wife frowned, muttered, "That sounds about right." Couple days later, I get stopped in town. Old man at the diner shoves a coffee-stained note at me. Says, "Can that gadget of yours check my credit score too?" I said, "Sir, it don't even like bulls, and you want it to grade your life choices?" But sure enough, I humored him. Machine groaned, spit out, "Policy holder expired in spirit. Recommend early retirement." The last straw was when the preacher cornered me after service. Wanted me to run it on the deacons, said it'd help with budgeting the tithe. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Reverend, this machine don't do souls. It barely does llamas." That night, sitting on my porch, Al hooted 3 times like it had read the whole docket. Machine printed one last slip without me touching it. Adjuster of record, you. Claim submitted, humanity. Premium, laughter. I folded that paper, put it in my pocket, and said to the dark, "Lord help us all, I've gone from ball inspector to cosmic auditor." And that, friends, was the day I quit answering my phone.
Epilogue. Field Notes from the Nut Patrol, as told by Uncle Ernest O. Pines. Well, I reckon that about does it. 7 chapters, a busted molar, 2 pairs of boots caked in manure, and a machine that knows more about barnyard anatomy than any man ought to. Folks keep asking, "Ernest, what'd you learn out there?" And I just shrugged. Ain't much to learn except this. If you give a farmer a shining machine, he'll try it on every critter within a mile radius, and eventually himself. Them emus? Mean. Rheas? Meaner. Bulls? Don't even bring it up. Llamas? Projectiles on 4 legs. Hogs, donkeys, guinea fowl, and turkeys, all of 'em made the testy scan whine like a Baptist organ out of tune. And in the end, the only slip that nighted was the one that printed all by itself. Adjuster of record, you. Premium, laughter. Whew, what? Ain't that the truth, though? Sometimes all you can do is laugh, deadpan as a mule chew, and file the claim later. So if you see me on the side of the road with that chrome contraption rattling in the truck bed, don't wave me down. Don't bring me your goats, your pets, or your Uncle Ray who just wants to check his policy. I retired from the Nut Patrol. But if you hear an owl call 3 times or see a farmer dragging a llama toward a chute with a gray on his face, well, don't say I didn't warn you. Some premiums are just too high.